state of Illinois seeing an increase in population over the past 3 years, according to the U.S. Census. But some of those numbers still not back to where they were in 2020. That's the latest out of the U.S. Census when it comes to the Illinois numbers. I'm Greg Bishop. This is Illinois in Focus Daily. You can wake up with us here each and every weekday morning for the latest. And Governor J.B. Pritzker already out heralding the increase in a news release his office put out yesterday. He says that third consecutive year of population growth for Illinois. Illinois population, the governor's office says, has grown for the third consecutive year, according to new estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau released Tuesday. Between July 1st, 2024 and July 1st, 2025, Illinois added 16,100 residents, and an increase of more than 100,000 since 2022. Illinois recording its third consecutive population growth year as the state remains focused on strengthening the factors that help people choose to stay and build their lives here. The governor continues saying that's why we are focused on making long-term investments in education, public safety, and economic opportunity so families can raise their kids here, workers can build careers, and entrepreneurs can start and grow businesses across Illinois. Illinois experienced population growth in the last year, in part due to natural population gains and slowing domestic outmigration. Illinois birth rate continues to outpace deaths. You got net domestic outmigration fell to 40,000 residents, the lowest level in 15 years. And that net migration out, those are the people from Illinois moving to other domestic places like Indiana, for instance. Recent population estimates, the governor's office says, reflect efforts for state officials to improve the accuracy of Illinois' census data. And it goes into some of the battles that the state of Illinois has had over the U.S. Census count. And so those numbers coming out, doing some number crunching, you've got the places and people are moving to. The domestic migration, we'll pull this up, and this is a chart pulling those numbers, and you can see here, this is the top 6 states that Illinoisans are moving to. All right, so domestic migration for 2025. And you can see here, Missouri, a lot of people moving from Illinois to Missouri. And this is just the last year. A lot of people moving from Illinois to California. A lot of people moving from Illinois to Texas, to Wisconsin, to Florida. And then the most people moving from Illinois are going to Indiana. So the fact that you've got several bordering states here, that's an indication of the domestic migration. Now, the governor's office talks about the domestic migration out of Illinois slowing. Here's a chart from the 2020 to 2025 showing just that. Here is, in 2020 numbers, negative migration out of the state. In 2021, continued negative migration out of the state to the tune of more than 100,000 in 2021. In 2022, 150,000 people left the state of Illinois for other states. In 2023, you've got, about 75,000 people. 2024, right around 50,000 people, and then around 40,000 plus in 2025. Moving out of the state of Illinois to another state. And then you look at the international migration, and you can see these are all positive numbers. These are numbers of people moving from outside of the country to Illinois. And if we just compare these two charts, you got negative out domestic migration for the past, since 2020. And then you've got a spike of international migration to Illinois in 2024, all positive from 2020. You can see how the net migration in Illinois is increasing over the past 3 years. So again, the number of people moving into Illinois from other countries outpacing the number of domestic migration out of Illinois. So all of this obviously is going to be debated as the governor heralded the numbers in a news release. He's expected to be asked about it come a news conference he's holding later on today up in Chicago. So we'll see what he has to say on that end. But obviously, as we get closer to budget time, there's going to be more conversation about taxation. Last week, Illinois Republican State Representative Joseph Cisnowski, he shared that looks like Democrats are just going to continue to ask for more money from taxpayers.
There's also, a lot of talk from Democrats, as I mentioned, talk about affordability. Again, as we mentioned, as the leader mentioned, they're not doing anything about affordability. They're finding more programs to spend more money on, and all that is doing is giving them excuses to increase taxes on everybody here in the state of Illinois.
Now, Cisnowski standing with other Republican leaders, including Leader McCombie, who we'll hear from here in a moment. But yesterday, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson talked about taxation and how he's continuing to push to tax the wealthy.
I would actually be curious how politicians feel about the polling that I just described. That overwhelmingly, working people believe that politicians should do more to challenge the ultra rich. That's what my focus will always be. It's not about my own personal ambition or endeavor. I have one responsibility: to build the safest, most affordable big city in America and stand up for working people.
So he continues to push for like a millionaire's tax. But clearly, when you've got people moving out of the state of Illinois year after year after year, domestic migration out of the state of Illinois, may have slowed as the trend shows. But you still have people moving out of the state of Illinois. They're taking their tax dollars with them. Another number we'll be looking for is from the Internal Revenue Service that talks about, gross taxes moving to other states. And Illinois in the past has seen $10+ billion annually move out of the state of Illinois. Are these high income earners that you've got Brandon Johnson looking to tax the rich? And if they continue to move out of the state, does that mean the burden is going to continue to be on those lower income people? Or, for instance, the international migration into the state, are they going to be able to cover the income tax receipts that are fleeing the state of Illinois? Illinois House Minority Leader Tony McCombie talking about this idea of more programs, more spending, and how it's unsustainable.
We have 550,000 people that have come here. That is, we've spent over $2 billion on healthcare, education, and housing for illegal immigrants. Inflation has gone down 70% under Donald Trump compared to Biden. So certainly we are in a much better place. And the only reason costs are up here in Illinois is because of bills that they continue to pass here. I mean, they spent $8 billion on a fake energy bill just 3 months ago.
So you got the legislature going to be considering, obviously, tax policies and how those impact you, the taxpayer in Illinois, with that latest population data. And obviously, we'll be dissecting that even more and more as we look at different crosstabs of the population numbers. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning for the latest from the Center Square. Go to thecentersquare.com and get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning.